Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that proudly endorses Tom Vazel for President of the United States, and would like to remind Mr. Vazel that it is available should he need that VP spot filled. It'll probably go to Chaz. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to take a look at Krosmaster Quest from Ankama Games. In Krosmaster Quest from Ankama, 2 to 6 players are going to have some epic adventures with their cool little minis as they move around the board and do all sorts of fun and kooky things. Now, I'll tell you right now, this game's been out for a little while. There's a lot of videos out there kind of on basic gameplay. I'm just going to give you a very brief overview of the rules. So essentially, the very first thing you need to do is decide how you want to play the game, because there's different game modes. You can play it competitively, you can play it cooperatively. And if you play it cooperatively, there's a bad guy, the demon. And you can decide, are you all going to go ahead and take turns being the demon and moving things and what have you? Or is one player going to be the demon? Is he the one that is going to kind of control everything, so it's kind of an all-on-one game? Players have characters. They've got the really cool pre-painted miniatures for the characters they can play and some of the baddies. And they've got kind of basic stats. They've got movement points. They've got hit points. They've got action points. They've got different spells they can cast and different abilities they can do throughout the game. And all this is kept track of on kind of a unique player board that has these little pieces that come out. So you can uncover certain parts of your card. You can open up spaces to put, maybe different kinds of weapons or armor or different things you may get at a market that you can go to during the game. And then, of course, there's a place for your money and this backpack, all sorts of places where you can put stuff on this board. And you're going to pay money that you're going to earn in the game to open up more parts of your player card. You're also trying to get GG's glory, I think is what it is. And like in the competitive game, you're trying to collect the most of these, and the player who collects the most wins. And essentially, you're doing that by killing mobs. And mobs are these kind of little monsters that are running around the game. Some of them are just these weird ducks that are moving around. But they're going around the game board. You're killing them, but you're also going on quests. You're getting quest cards. You're going to try to fulfill the different conditions of these quests. And there's also some fun and interesting things you can do that's kind of unusual. For instance, you can actually get a character next to a workshop, and if you have the right components, you have the right kind of ingredients, you can build different things, and that's pretty cool. But there are different scenarios, and depending on how you're playing the game, what modes you're playing, and what scenario conditions you're trying to fulfill, one player is going to win, or you can all win the competitive game. Now, as I say, that's an incredibly brief overview of how you play the game. There's a lot more to it. I wouldn't recommend trying to play the game just after watching this video. Go check out another video, or better yet, read the rules. Which brings me to my very first point about this game. This is one of the worst rulebooks I've read. It's not intuitive. It's really not a good rulebook. It's not a good rulebook because if you're just kind of reading it, front to back, like you do most books, it's not terribly clear how a lot of things function. It just doesn't become obvious how things work just from a simple read-through. So, fortunately, what they do have is this kind of tutorial book, and you can play through tutorials in order to kind of learn the game. In fact, a lot of the footage you're seeing here is from the tutorial games we played. Now, the game itself is interesting in a lot of ways. It's got a lot of things going for it. It is a pretty basic kind of dungeon crawler, if you will. It very much feels like that, but it does have some of those cool and interesting things you can do. And it's always fun when you have games where you can earn money and buy things and customize your characters and customize each adventure you're going to have. This game brings that in abundance. I think there's a lot of people out there that are going to like Krosmaster Quest. It's actually got a pedigree. Krosmaster Arena came before it, and I think it's somewhat compatible with that game, if I understand it correctly. I never played it. And so there's so much stuff in the box, so many cards. There's all these little miniature, three-dimensional kind of landscape stuff. You're building boxes and trees and what have you that are really cool. Although sometimes they're kind of hard to keep together, but they're pretty cool. So there's just a lot of stuff in the box, and that's always a good thing. I mean, it's a big box game, and it's got a lot of stuff in there. The game, however, the theme of the game, it's very cute, it's very silly, and so I didn't really connect with the theme, and a lot of people in my group didn't really connect with the theme. And I think this is maybe geared a little bit toward younger players from the look of it. I mean, it almost looks like a younger player game, but it's pretty complex in a lot of ways. It's not a simple game. It's not a kid's game, really, because of the level of complexity. And there's a lot of complexity here. A lot of things you got to know. So I'm not quite sure who this game is targeted for. Now, I mean, I'm sure there are older gamers that'll probably like it and get a big kick out of it. I know there are. I can see that in this game. I can see the fun things you can do in this game. It just didn't really connect with me. So with all that being said, I'm kind of two minds of Krosmaster Quest. I generally enjoyed it. I generally found it a decent game, but it's not one that I'm really super eager to play again because of the theme, and frankly, because I'm a little not really engaging with the theme, I don't really have a lot of desire to really get into the nuances of the game, and that's kind of a negative too. But again, I'm thinking that's just kind of a negative for me. Other people out there may really, really enjoy it. So the best I can do for this game is give it a try before you buy it. If this looks like fun, if you like all this stuff, and if you like the theme, I think you'll get a big kick out of this game. I really do. Myself, I kind of lean in another direction. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer. You know, I'll bet if Tom Vasel did become President of the United States, we'd have a nuclear war pretty quickly. Because I hear that's how he loses at Twilight Struggle all the time. You know, he launches a coup in a battleground state when the DEFCON's already at 1, you know. Yeah, whatever. Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Okay, so grab your 3 cards, or I'm sorry, grab a hand of 7.